Ooh. Sister, 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 sister talk, sister, 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 sister talk, sister, 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 sister talk, sister, 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 sister talk. Something on your mind anytime. I'm here to listen. Sister talk. When you need someone who understands, I know what you're missing. Sister talk. No matter what you're going through, don't worry.
Should the statues come down? We're going to go back to Charlottesville, the statue of the Confederate Robert E. Lee. They wanted it to come down. The state, I think, or the city voted for it to come down. The city voted for it to come down. Now it's moved its way up north. It's moved its way up north, and people want statues to come down here, especially they're talking about Columbus
Circle. Okay.
Bring them down.
Okay.
Tear them all down.
212-757-1393. 212-757-1393. Love to hear your voice.
Tear them down. Tear them all down.
I don't know why we're praising terrorists.
Columbus, right? Who else? Robert E. Lee.
It is another statue, Dr. James Marion Sims. He's a surgical pioneer. He's a father of modern gynecology.
Yes.
So you're a fan of tearing them down?
I'm pro tearing them down.
They might get you out of the GOP because you have been agreeing with us this whole time.
No, well, you need to come to some Republican meetings.
Where are they at?
Hey, we'll talk after,
after
the show.
And needless to say, you have me on because I'm opinionated. So, of course, in terms of the statues, because I've heard was it the president said, well, if, where's a slippery slope, it's going to be George Washington next. Yeah. Okay, there's a big difference between a founder and a treasonous person that still to this day pledges to a flag other than the flag of the United States. I think that is where my big issue comes in with Christopher Columbus.
It's historical and documented what he did.
So you know the last part of my name. Part of my name is Italian there on the end, and it has always gotten me. Every Columbus Day, I keep looking at Italians and going, why are they even praising Columbus? I understand that they claim he came over here, but both North and South America are named after an Italian, Americo Vespucci. Why aren't they celebrating him? He came in, he worked with the Native Americans, wrote everything down, and went home. He didn't come here to murder people. Why don't they change the whole thing, Columbus Day, all that, to Americo Vespucci Day?
Yeah, let's take this phone call. Caller, you watch the Talk TV show. I'm DIETRA KELSEY. What's your name?
Hi, this is Crystal. How are you doing?
Hi, Crystal. How you doing?
I'm good.
Okay, what do you have to say?
Yeah, a friend of mine said she thinks if they're going to remove the statues, don't destroy them, but just put them in museums. That was her spin. She said you don't have to rip them apart and destroy them. Put them in museums, because she's a school teacher. She likes history and stuff, and she feels the statues should not be destroyed, but they could be removed.
Okay, thank you. That's a good point there.
Yes.
That's a good point because the critics are saying that we should not remove history and all that. And I sort of agree with that.
Don't they have history in books?
Yeah, but let me finish.
But they're changing the books.
Yeah, let me finish that. Let me finish. But I really believe that the statues deserve a place, maybe a museum and so forth, to say this is how these people did. I mean, yeah, I believe that it's a part of history.
I'm married to my wife. Let me just say this one thing. I'm married to my wife 10 years. Shout out to Ryan, Julie, and my wife. They asked me to say their names. I've been married 10 years to my wife.
Call in, yeah.
She has history too. She has some past boyfriends before I got married to her. Do I want to see pictures of them in my house?
No.
But that's
I'm saying
history.
outside the house, a museum or someplace.
We don't need a museum to that.
You have to be reminded that this can happen again.
Why do we need
That's why
we
history.
have Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin, Donald Trump, Sheriff Arpaio.
Maybe that happened because no, I'm saying maybe that happened because history is not being told correctly.
Okay.
Well, former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich supports corrective history, which makes sense. We should be reanalyzing American history and seeing how it's being told in the classrooms and to the masses. I don't think that most people who understand American history or who know anything about American history understands the crimes of Robert E. Lee and other figures that are praised in our society.
Exactly.
Stonewall Jackson, the Confederacy, especially these people. Why
Columbus,
these people?
yeah,
But just
Christopher
wait a minute,
Columbus,
just why
really.
the slave owners? Why the Confederacy?
Well, this is what I was saying before, that these people are still, these so-called people in the South, what are they? They're always talking about the South will rise again. Do they want to destroy the nation again? I mean, and we're all supposed to be praying, saluting one flag. Why are they saluting some other flag? That's what I'm saying.
Right.
They are
That should've been
treason. They are
gone.
treasonous on the face of it. It is treasonous. And in terms of them being in museums, in a way, you know, when you go to a Holocaust museum, you're going to see Hitler. I remember some years ago, I produced a production of Cabaret. Okay, and the poster of Cabaret had the beautiful face of the young woman, and it was the leading lady in the show. And on her lip, within the lipstick, we had a tiny swastika.
Wow.
So yes.
Wow. So
some people came and were like, oh, my God, what are you? And I'm like, if you don't even know what that was about, what Cabaret was about, what it was talking about, because of course that's one of my most, as theater, that's why I do theater and history. Theater and the arts are supposed to remind us and tell us and teach us. That's why I believe in edutainment, about what has happened in history. And people who saw it just saw the swastika and had no idea that it was talking about the Holocaust and the Jewish situation in Germany, and because of a lack of education.
Let's take this phone call. Caller, you watch the Sistah Talk TV show. What do you have to say?
I would like to say that these monuments to an oppressive history should be wiped away. I don't think that they should be memorialized by being put in museums. I don't think that we should have to remember them like the Jewish Holocaust. And it's devastating to the Black community, African American Black community, and the world, to be honest.
Why doesn't she think it's commensurate with the Holocaust? That's what I want to know.
No, ask her that.
Yes,
Ask her
why
that.
I think the Holocaust was more of a testament to the almighty white man. And it wasn't the best representation of what America could be. So that shouldn't have to be what we allow our history to be remembered as.
Well, the thing to me is, I remember, I think I'm the oldest person on this panel, and I don't mind, because the alternative to being old is not being here at all.
Right.
Okay. And I remember when the original Roots first came on, and I remember standing out on my front stoop on the day after, and I saw a white mother taking her child to school, and apparently the teacher had given it to them as an assignment to watch Roots, and the child was saying to the parent, "Oh, that was so terrible what they were doing to those black people." Well, at that time I think she said Negroes or whatever on the television. And the mother looked at the child and said, "Oh, you know, that's a TV show. It was all very exaggerated. It wasn't that bad."
A lot of people believe that.
Yes, exactly. And this is what I'm saying. We think we want to wipe it out. I had a student at a school. The man was in his 30s. An African-American man who said he had never heard of lynching. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And when he questioned his family later, he found out that several members of his family had been lynched, so they stopped talking about it because it was so painful.
That's what my point is. What's your name? What's your name, ma'am?
My name is Danish.
Danish. Yeah, that was my point, that history should not be just wiped away.
Because people
even
don't
if
understand.
It's horrific or good. We have to realize that, you know, history has to be remembered, especially negative history, so it won't hopefully be repeated again. Thank you for calling,
Okay,
Danish.
but they memorialize them. Can we wipe them away the way they did us?
Oh, well, we're not talking about memorializing. When she's talking about putting it in a museum, you could have a place in a museum that says the horrors of American history and say how disgusting these men.
For that.
Well,
Let
put it
them
away
go to the
somewhere.
internet.
Okay.
Google it.
Well,
It could be in the history books.
You know, but it's also like they say, you know, it's all you don't want to keep preaching to the converted. The people who are racist and who don't know the history, they're not going to the internet to see what happened.
They're going to go to the museum?
Well, yeah, because
I don't care about them.
Yes, I know, I hear you.
I don't care.
But the way to fight ignorance is through education, and people need to know their entire history, not just the good parts.
Those white people know what that means. Let's stop giving them the bit. They don't know. They know exactly what the Confederate flag means, Robert E. Lee means, Stonewall Jackson, Confederate soldier. So they know
My
what it
dear
means.
friend, remember the poorly educated?
That's one thing that educate their people on. That's one thing that educate their people on is what those symbols mean. They want to tell you they think it means heritage and flags and the Southern soldier. They know what
Do you
it
know
means.
how? Do you know how deep it is that right after enslavement was ended in this country, it was still going on in Brazil, and a lot of white Americans who did not want to accept the end of enslavement immigrated. They moved to Brazil, and to this very day, as we sit here at this table, once a year they have a big celebration where they wear the Southern hoop skirts and they wave the Confederate flag and they hire people to pretend to be their enslaved people. I mean, this is what I'm saying. The ignorance is so.
That's not ignorance. They know.
Let's take a video break and we'll be right back.
Sister, sister talk, sister, 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 sister talk, sister, 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 ooh, sister talk.